What's going on, guys? This is Jordan Miller. I'm the owner and founder of BreatheHeavy. Thank you so much for tuning into this latest live stream. This is, I believe, the 7th live stream. And one, I'm just having a lot of fun doing these, but also to see the engagement gaining momentum after every live stream. The last live stream was the most watched live stream of them yet. And I can tell this is going to be another interesting one for all of us to participate in. So if you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and also please drop me a comment. If you're watching this live, definitely drop a comment because I'm going to be bringing up some of these comments during the live stream. And if you're watching this after the fact, then please still continue to drop a comment, and I'm responding to 100% of the comments that are left on this video. We have a lot to dive into today, so I'm going to get right to it. The last live stream, the entire focus, namely, was on Britney and Jamie Lynn's ongoing public feud. And there's a part 2, which is today. It continued over the weekend. There's a lot to unpack. Things are still unfolding as we speak, including today, where Jamie Lynn apparently is reading text messages between her and Britney on podcasts now. So we're going to unpack that. But the first story that we're going to get to is Britney actually kind of waving a white flag and kind of a Hail Mary, so to speak. She posted a statement and essentially kind of calling for peace, even though she doesn't quite understand where Jamie Lynn's coming from. But that was not received well by Jamie Lynn, who basically called their public feud embarrassing, although she's the one that's fanning the flames. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then after that, I'm going to play you that clip of Jamie Lynn reading what appears to be text messages between her and Britney. There's a bit of a cliffhanger, so we don't actually see her yet reading these text messages, but it appears she's going to. So we're going to talk about that. And meanwhile, Britney was spotted driving for the first time, and I kind of want to talk to you and get your opinion on the ethics of paparazzi photos about Britney in 2022. So I'm kind of looking to hear your feedback and how we all should proceed. Meanwhile, we have Jamie Lynn's husband, who is direct messaging fans on Instagram and saying just like the wildest stuff. And so there's screenshots of this, and I'm going to share those with you. And I'm curious to know what you think. I just want to put it out there that this isn't an invitation to start sending anyone hate. So just don't do that, okay? And then we have an interesting quote, or it appears to be several quotes from Miss Lou Taylor, who, by the way, has threatened me several times with the lawsuit if I didn't kind of play along or apologize, retract, whatever stuff. If you're interested in knowing more about stuff that I've had with Lou Taylor, there's a couple of videos that I made way back when. So you can check those out. Make sure, if I'm not already clear about it, make sure you subscribe. And last but not least, I wanted to throw in a Madonna story into this. These live streams aren't meant to be 100% about Britney, but she's dominating the news right now in terms of BreatheHeavy's atmosphere. But I did want to talk to you about a Madonna story that I found really interesting. So we have a lot to unpack. We have a lot to look at, but you know the drill. Before we dive into the full video, let's play that intro. All right, so first things first, we're going to talk about Britney's, I don't even know what you call it. I think it's just more of a stream of consciousness. She's trying to kind of, I guess, smooth the waves out between her and Jamie Lynn. So she posted something on Twitter over the weekend. It interestingly did not make her Instagram, nor has a lot of her recent statements, if that's kind of what you want to call them. What I've done in past live streams, and I'm going to continue to do today, is share the news via Exhale. Exhale is the forum component of BreatheHeavy. So if you're not already registered, I highly encourage you after this live stream and after you're done checking out all my videos, of course, to head over to breatheheavy.com and create an account. It's completely free. It takes less than 10 seconds, and you're going to be joining a really amazing community of more than 86,000 members. So please go and do that. So what you're going to see here is the story. It's a topic where Britney kind of put out her message for Jamie Lynn, and I'm going to read you a bit of an excerpt from it. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it was a pretty fascinating read. So she says, first of all, the very first sentence, I'm like, I know I said I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but there's a lot to unpack. She says, Jamie Lynn, I don't think your book is about me at all. And right there, I just feel like Britney's being humble because it's like, no, it is. I think that I think, yeah, there's certainly things that Jamie Lynn opens up about in this book, which I have not yet to read, and I don't have the motivation to. Not being shady or anything, it just seems like a bummer to me. I'm not gonna read it. So I've gotten the excerpts, and in fact, side note, I got a copyright takedown notice from the publishing company because Breathe Heavy had some excerpts from the book. And so, yeah, that was not pleasant to check out. So anyway, just all in all, got a bad taste in my mouth. So Brittany goes on to say, I said some harsh things because you obviously hurt me by the things you're making up about me. And Brittany's referring to, I think, like the knife incident and some other stuff. So you can check out the live stream before this if you want some more background. So when I said only a scum person would make things up like that about someone, I could have sworn I said, but you're not. But it doesn't make sense at all to me what you're saying. I know you worked hard for the life you have, I guess. Not to be shady, I'm sorry. She goes on to say, and you've done amazing, but I think we would both have to agree to the fact that the family has never been remotely as hard on you as they have been on me. And here's what I find to be really interesting. She says, what dad did to me, they don't even do that to criminals. So for you to sit back and act completely aloof to what has happened to me is honestly insane to me. And then she goes on to say, like, she's worked a lot and she's like, Britney can't fathom how she could have been placed into a mental health facility against her will for all those months and that her family did nothing. Jamie Lynn did nothing. Britney says that she reached out to Jamie Lynn while she was there and Jamie Lynn couldn't even be bothered to text back for days on end. So Britney says, you guys treated me like nothing and that's not even the half of it. I'm honestly shocked Dad isn't in jail. Also, I just want to mention, I find it interesting how Britney words this. She's talking straight up to Jamie Lynn. This isn't like she's worded it in a way that's like directly speaking to Jamie Lynn. So clearly they're not speaking behind the scenes from what I gather. Britney goes on to say, we're supposed to have each other's back, but what you're saying truly confuses me. All I know is I love you unconditionally, so go ahead and say whatever you want. It's so tacky for a family to publicly fight like this. I also love that she said that because that is a layer of self-awareness around this whole situation. And I was a little surprised, initially that Britney was engaging in this back and forth, but at the same time, it's like she's been silenced for so many years that it actually makes complete sense that she's like, you know what? I'm going to use my voice. I'm angry. I don't care of the repercussions in the moment. Like, people deserve to hear my voice. And obviously she doesn't want to have this like close connection right now with her family, understandably so, because they burned her. All right. So just to wrap things up, she mentions that so Jamie Lynn and Brian, her brother, showed up to her house, Britney's house, at one point after an Instagram post, maybe worried them or something. And she kind of has this perspective of like, you guys showed up, you were laughing. She says, say whatever you want to say. Just know I do know your real heart more than anyone. It's your life and you deserve a beautiful life. I wish I would be able to do what you're doing and do interviews. I'm scared of all of it. And interestingly, there's a few rumors that Britney may be doing an interview with Oprah. So it's unclear. It appears that has not yet happened, but very much could be in the works. Just know I love you, and I think that you already know that more than anything. So a lot to unpack with that. Honestly, I just find it still just to be like a bummer. And I think Jamie Lynn, has released a book, and Britney's trying to heal from trauma, and it's all being brought back up into her face in such a public way through all the media and Jamie Lynn's interview. I think the interviews almost are worse than the actual book itself. It's like Jamie Lynn's like not backing down from the stance and having zero self-awareness, where she could easily be like, you know what? I screwed up. I wasn't there for you. I took sides with someone who is an alleged abuser, and I know that's her own father, and that truth would be probably extremely hard for her to admit. But it's like Jamie Lynn's kind of in a place where she's almost having to take sides. She's having to pick, and obviously that would be a difficult position to be in. But I think that we can all agree that there's like someone who was abused, in Britney's words, and someone who was the abuser, Britney's words as well. So make of that what you will. Meanwhile, Jamie Lynn responds to this and she says, she basically is like, why are you engaging with me on this public way? Why don't you respond to me privately? So I'm going to pull Jamie Lynn's response up and read you a little bit of it because it's, ugh. Britney, just call me. I've attempted many times to speak to you directly and handle this privately like sisters should, but you still choose to do everything on a public platform. The footnote should be that Jamie Lynn is releasing a book and doing interviews and going on podcasts, but okay. In the meantime, please stop continuing the narrative that I haven't been there for you or that I'm making things up. I'm happy to share how many times I've reached out to you, supported you, and tried to help you. This is embarrassing and has to stop. Love you. So, that's just not a good look. And it's just hopefully I didn't get the timeline of these things swapped, but nonetheless, it's like Jamie Lynn is like, I think the main point, the main takeaway of that is she's saying like, let's not do this publicly. Meanwhile, she's doing everything publicly and like airing dirty laundry. And so that leads us to this next thing that happened today. This is Jamie Lynn reading text messages from Britney per so the podcast is called Call Her Daddy. It's a pretty big podcast. And Jamie Lynn appears on it to promote her book, and we've been given a teaser today, and it's already a hot mess. However, I will admit that it's going to definitely draw viewers in because the teaser is like, it's rare to have somebody read text messages between themselves and Britney, let alone like a family member. And so I saw some comments from people today being like, how are we going to know that that's actually Britney? How are we, she could be faking that. I believe that these are from Britney, and I get that Jamie Lynn's trying to clear her name. But it's like, it's just absurd. Like, what is going on? Why are you doing this? To sell the book? Like, to amplify your voice even further because you feel like you've been so overshadowed over the years? Like, what is happening? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the clip of that right here. And it goes like this.
Let's get into it. Okay. You have a text message that clears your name from your sister. Can you pull out your phone and read that recent text from Britney?
Do I have my phone? Hold on, your bigger seat. That seat right here. She says to me.
Cliffhanger. So they don't actually show you. Yeah, we're gonna have to tune in. Which I hate to admit. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna tune in. I'll just get the highlights. It's just like, it's just too much of a bummer. But I imagine she goes on to read it. I'm sure she doesn't have any split-second self-awareness. Is like, you know what? I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't cave to this request to read the text messages. I'm actually shocked that she says, let me grab my phone, and goes to grab her phone and finds the text messages. Like, what alternate reality are we in where that's happening? I would have imagined that she'd been like, look, you know what? I can't cross that line. That's just like a bit of an invasion of privacy. I guess that ship has sailed forever ago. So I don't know what I'm actually talking about. It's all like absurd to me. And it's also like super sad. Like, taking a step back, it's like, I get Jamie Lynn's getting a lot of hate. And I've actually been personally getting a little flack for trying to be empathetic towards her and all this. And one thing that she's mentioned is like, do I matter? Do I matter, kind of a thing? And that, I felt for her in that moment. Like, that would be a difficult position to be in. However, that doesn't equal releasing a book and reading private text messages. Like, I just find that to be like not a good look. And I think that that's going to really cause some damage between Britney and her, because Britney's pretty tuned in to what's going on with Jamie Lynn. Like, I think there's sometimes in Britney's career, especially with, the Free Britney era and the conservatorship, and there were times where I'm like, I wonder if Britney's even seeing this, like she needs to see this, but I don't know if she's actually seeing this, but she's pretty in tune with what's going on. It'd be interesting to me to find out if she ever fires up BreatheHeavy. No way for me to know that currently, but I have a sneaking suspicion maybe she does. I'm getting off the point here. I'm curious to know what you think about this podcast with Jamie Lynn reading these text messages. I'm going to take a quick little peek at some of the comments because there's already 100 in the live chat. So thank you. Actually, first of all, I just want to say thank you for contributing and participating. People are saying, so Paula says, it appears Britney has never had privacy. Sad for her. Someone says, oh my God, her acting like she doesn't know if her phone is with her. Girl, stop. That's also a very good point. I didn't even think of that. I did see some like meme of like Jamie Lynn like wiping like these non-existent tears off of like during all these interviews she does. I don't know. Someone said, I'm happy to share with you how many times I've reached out to you in order to manipulate and gaslight you. I don't know if they're talking to me. Okay. I don't know what that's about. That one kind of, who releases a private text message to the public? Worst sister ever. All right. So a lot of the comments are just like fiery. Unfortunately, money changes everything. I do agree with that. I'm not convinced this would be happening to Britney if she wasn't Britney Spears and rich and famous. Okay. Moving on to the next story. Jamie Lynn's husband is actually like, this isn't the first time he's done this where he responds to fans in the DMs. And he's clearly defending Jamie Lynn and feels like Britney is completely in the wrong. Jamie Lynn is totally misunderstood and thinks it's appropriate to be conversing with fans. Now, I will say that he's getting his responses, they're mild in language, but what he reveals is pretty like hurtful, I think. And I've actually had people even today reach out to me, sending me screenshots of messages that they've sent him, cursing him out. And I'm like, ugh, like that's not the vibe. Like, so that's why I mentioned earlier in this live stream, if you're just tuning in now, I mentioned earlier, like, please don't send these people hate, even though they've like are saying, in my opinion, pretty just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just their heads in the sand. Their head is totally in the sand. They're seeing it from their own perspective. And I guess we're all guilty of that too. I personally really try to like see all sides of the picture and try to come up with my own interpretation of everything. And so basically what you're seeing here is him saying that Britney embarrassed Jamie Lynn when they were younger. And that's how somehow caused some type of effect on Jamie Lynn as an adult now. Someone goes on to say, then why are you letting your wife say she's erratic? And then he says, she is. And so you can read these text messages. This link is in the description of this video. So you can go to Exhale and read all these if you don't want to check these out right now. He goes on to say that Britney's not telling the truth, that time will tell, wait and see. It's not my story to tell. Just like, you know, someone says, Britney is not insane. Y'all need to stop acting like she is. And he goes, she is not. So I find that to be really, just from like the mental health perspective, calling someone insane, considering that Britney's had nearly 14 years of trauma because of a situation that trapped her against her will, that was put into place illegally. I find that to be really distasteful. So he goes on to say that Britney basically could have said something about the conservatorship way back when and just chose not to. He says she could have gone out. She could have go out of the everything several times. So I think he meant to say she could have gotten out of the conservatorship several times. We set up lawyers and everything many times. She wouldn't even return the calls. She would have moved out of California and it would have ended. Now, what he's not mentioning is that at one point, Jamie Spears, who was the former conservator, tried to get conservatorships in like, I think 7 or 8 other states. So anywhere Britney would move to, she'd be in a conservatorship. And that included like Hawaii and Florida, where they, you know, Britney's estate has a property. I can't remember the other states, but that was a news item last year or the year before. So it's like, and regardless of whatever BS he's saying, she tried to get out of the conservatorship within day one. She tried to hire an attorney. They got a restraining order against him. Like, I don't even need to like go into all the details. I'm sure you already know all of this. If you don't, it's a whole entire rabbit hole. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Britney was put into a conservatorship against her will, tried to get out of it, and she was blocked at every attempt. And essentially for her own like well-being, like was forced to comply with all of these things over the years. And so I just completely don't agree with him. He goes on to say that Jamie Spears was a drunk, not a violent drunk, and that he has a restraining order. This is moving a mile a minute. I'm sorry. Britney's sons have a restraining order against Jamie Spears because he says that they were getting mouthy to him. And so he's like, but I know the situation probably could have been handled better. Yeah, you don't physically abuse minors or just people in general. So he kind of justifies Jamie Spears' like alcoholism and says he was just a drunk, and it's a mess. It's just a mess. There's just countless receipts. So I'm kind of over this. So I'm gonna move on. But he says, don't worry, if Jamie Lynn wanted to do a tell-all, she could put this to sleep. She still loves her sister. She's literally releasing a book. So I don't know what he's talking about. All right, I'm getting fired up. I'm going to move on to the next item. This one I'm super curious to know what you think, and I'd love your participation on, because I've been personally, not, no pun intended, I've been in a bit of a crossroads with this. So periodically, paparazzi photos come out of Britney, and she has been outspoken about it on Instagram, being like, the paparazzi follow me. It's super embarrassing. They Photoshop my pictures. And there's a lot of like conversation that goes on when it comes to paparazzi photos. And I think Breathe Heavy has a role in all of this that I'm trying to kind of understand how to navigate. So basically, I'm going to, and if you feel like this is inappropriate, or I'm crossing a line here by showing you this paparazzi photo of Britney, this is what I actually want to talk to you about and get the engagement and get the feedback, so I kind of know how to proceed with. I want to read the room, basically. And so there's a couple sides to the coin here. It's like, on the one hand, it's Britney Spears, and if fans are seeing these photos, that's one thing. If it's like, you know, these like the general public who are just naysayers and are super rude to her, that's another thing. All the comments in Breathe Heavy are all like, she looks amazing. She, you know, she looks great. The white Mercedes is iconic. She looks beautiful. Like, all of them are super positive on Breathe Heavy. It's when you, making sure that didn't fall off. It's when you go to like the Daily Mail, the comments could get a little bit like inappropriate. And so I'm just like unsure, like, personally, as a community leader and as someone who has, you know, I guess a name in the Britney world, what does one do in this situation? So I just would love to hear what you think. Is it just like, are we at a point in time in Britney's world, just maybe in general, where it's like these should not exist? Or is it on a case-by-case basis? Or is Breathe Heavy kind of like unique in that it's like uplifting Britney when these photos come out? So you know, if Britney like herself like reached out to me on the DL or was like, please no more of that, obviously it would be like, boom, never again. But until then, it's like, you know, fans like on Breathe Heavy are constantly saying like, no, we need these photos. Like, we have no connection to her. Now Britney's Instagram comments are off, so there's not even a way to like have that communication. So just curious to know what you think. Drop me a line in the comments. I'm going to take a quick look and see kind of what people are saying. Someone's saying we need to give this, so Ocean Man, we need to give this woman some privacy to grow. Everybody needs to leave Britney alone, but her crazy family won't go away. Oh my God, she does. Someone says, oh my God, she does look amazing though. Society needs to change, not us. By definition, they're public, regardless if the viewers are fans or not. So you can see it's a very like divided opinion on all of this. So just let me know what you think. And if you're watching this after the fact, please drop me a line in the comments as well, and I'll get back to you in the comments for sure. All right, moving along. We got 2 more stories left for you, so don't drop off yet. We're taking this plane home. The next is about Lou Taylor, everyone's fave. She is certainly a villainous character in all of this. She's someone who I don't even know how to approach her without, I don't want to be like, get in trouble, because she's actually allegedly tried to take down YouTube accounts before for trying to talk about her. And she did it by, if you used her photo, she like trademarked the photo, I guess. And so I'm just gonna hide that profile photo. And if anything funny goes down as a result of this, like I'll come back, you know, with this live stream with like a vengeance. Like, okay, I'm not trying to get fired up again. I'm sorry. So she posted peace over drama and distance over respect. And she's posting this in light of all the Jamie Lynn Britney stuff. And it's like, first of all, it's like, blah. Because it's like, wow, there's just no self-awareness there. And I just find it so interesting that everyone's so stuck to their guns. and so just in their own world. And she, to me, she refuses to like see another perspective or see that like she's actually hurt somebody. So peace over drama and distance over respect is like, girl. And then apparently I didn't actually see, there's no like, I can't confirm this. She's apparently posted, somebody is mad at you right now because you picked peace over drama and distance over disrespect. Maybe that's just where the quote came from. I don't know. It's just like Lou Taylor and peace, like in the same sentence is like, I don't mean to laugh, but I just wish she would come forward and like make a video. I actually said this in one of my videos last year, like almost more than a year ago, maybe. Like, Miss Taylor, just come out and like show some remorse for like what's gone down. Like Britney personally blames you for a lot of this, and there's a paper trail that, you know, seemingly connects you to a lot of these things. And I don't know. It's just, I'm curious to see in the next year how things unfold for her. Regardless of whatever happens to her legally, I can't believe she's in a place where she feels truly happy. And if she does, I want to know what mental gymnastics she does to blind herself from everything, because that would be like heaven for someone like me who overthinks everything. So, curious to know, you know, kind of how her day-to-day looks, because I would imagine when like the entire world, the New York Times does a story about you, like, you can't be feeling good, you know, just like show some remorse, show like that you've grown from the situation, that you've learned like, oh man, I like contributed to ruining somebody's life. Now with that said, I do think Britney is obviously a very strong person and is pulling herself out of all of this, and this is kind of what we're witnessing with, you know, everything with Jamie Lynn. So, I meant to hide this comment. Okay, there we go. There's that banner. Still getting the hang of it. Only 7 live streams in. All right, last but not least, don't drop off yet, because I want to just quickly touch on a Madonna story. She's the queen of pop. Britney loves Madonna. I love Madonna too. I'm always interested in what she's working on next. Apparently, she's working on a R&B style album, and it could be a sequel to Bedtime Stories. So I'm just going to quickly show you a report that I wrote via the Mirror, and there's a quote that says Madonna is trying to tempt Kanye West back into the recording studio to work with him once again, and with the aim of making the spiritual sequel to her classic R&B infused album Bedtime Stories. So I guess I'm just curious to know if that would be something that you'd be interested in hearing. I'm always fascinated by what Madonna comes out with, because she does her best to cling on to being current. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Sometimes it comes off like super tone deaf, and it's like, girl, what? But she's like an icon, a legend. She can do whatever she wants. So anytime that Madonna circles back to something that she's kind of already done before, I find that to be interesting, because she's always trying to like do something new, reinvent. So if she's like, look, I want to try this again, I'm pretty interested to hear what that would be. So I'm going to take a quick look at some of the more comments flooding in, and I just greatly appreciate you watching this live stream all the way to this point. It's been super exciting for me to do these. I'm actually traveling at the end of this week and all next week, and I'm gonna take this camera and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna keep these live streams going because they mean a lot to me. You mean a lot to me. I know that sounds cheesy, but the engagement and everything I'm gaining, it's just, I can see a lot of momentum. Oh, you know what? And I do. This is a total side note, but I did make a promise that I need to keep really quick. Tish Yates, which is Britney's former head of wardrobe, she reached out to me because I had done a little piece on her in the last live stream, and I'd called her Britney's stylist, and I'd read a message that she had said about Jamie Lynn stealing Britney's meet and greet outfits. She clarified to me that Jamie Lynn wasn't stealing them, but I guess basically the point of the message was that someone leaked her message and she didn't want that out there. And she wants to be known as Britney's head of wardrobe, not stylist. So I just wanted to clarify that. I told her that I would do that. Kind of surprises me still when I like have people in Britney's ecosystem still reach out to me. I don't know why I'm surprised by that, all things considered with BreatheHeavy and the reach it has. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. I love you. I'm looking forward to doing another live stream this week. I'm sure Things will continue to trickle out. It's been wild to watch all of this unfold. So thank you for participating, and I will see ya on the flip side. Bye. I'm just notoriously bad at these outros. Bye.